folk we are. Easter Saturday 2021 is our campsite at the Shearers Quarters campsite at Murray Sunset National Park. And apart from 4 vehicles over at the Shearers Quarters hut in the distance there, we have got this whole place to ourselves. We were the only ones here last night, and we're the only ones here today still. The flies are bad though.
So we're off this morning on the North Settlement Road?
Yes.
Or North Settlement Track.
North Settlement Road.
And which is really a track. And
yeah. It's still a designated 4 drive track.
And we've seen some kangaroos, which are much bigger than the ones we're used to down in Gippsland, the southeastern greys. These ones are a bit bigger. And no emus yet this morning, but a few birds. But we've just been discussing how little wildlife there actually is to be seen. So I'm interested to look up some flora and fauna information when we get home, so we can see what might have been living around us that we didn't see. But the track's quite easy this morning. We're in 2-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. We're not into 4-wheel drive yet. We are now on Pheenys track, and we are looking forward to some morning tea at the Pheenys campground.
Which might be just up ahead. I think that might be a clearing just there for the campground.
Yeah. There's even a little picnic table there for us.
I was actually right. Shit.
It happens.
What's going on?
Morning tea time.
Oh, it's a fine day.
So we've now come to the end of Pheenys track. We're about to turn north onto Underwood track and head off in that direction. And we're looking very red now in the scenes. The last track, Pheenys track, was quite easy. Is that the direction we came from? It's a lovely 34, is it?
It's about 34 at the moment.
34 degrees at the moment.
But it's a nice dry heat, so it doesn't really feel that bad.
Blue skies.
Cloudless.
Yeah. And it's a bit warm, but I feel the heat more than Mike does, so I'm feeling it. Here we are, we've just come down. There we go, there's even a sign for you, lovey. Nowling line, and now we're into Rocket Lake Campground we're heading. This track's a little bit more interesting than Pheeny. That was a big hole.
Yeah, that's why I drove around it.
Yeah, a little bit more interesting than the Pheeny. Now this track takes us alongside, what lake?
Rocket Lake.
Rocket Lake, which I was excited because I thought I could have a dip, but apparently it's dry.
It's a dry lake.
Because it is currently 33 degrees.
It would be nice, but you know what? We've got extra water on board. We can, if we're feeling hot, we can douse ourselves.
We can. A couple of turns, and here's the lake.
I have a better view, pretty sure. against to lunch. This is a lot
reminds
like.
me of Mungo.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. Here at Mungo, we saw the same kind of thing.
Yeah. With the ring of dunes around the back there was the wall of China or something at Mungo.
And all that low shrubbery on the lake. What would have been the lake bed?
Yeah. So Mike's very happy because this is a much more interesting track.
Oh yeah, a lot more fun to drive.
And even though there was signs when we first got onto this track about not going onto the lake bed, there were of course hoon marks on the lake bed.
Yes.
Not so much where all these shrubs were, but there was back there was some salty, unshrubby land. This is the Rocket Lake Campground. Quite pleasant. And Mike's taking a section out of the flag because we've passed some low-hanging trees a couple of times. So he's taking a section out. We were scheduled to stop here for the night, but instead, because it's only 1:30 and it's still quite hot, about 33, 35 degrees, we are just going to have lunch and we're going to push on now.
Oh yeah. I'm in my element right now. Although a few less corrugations would be nice, but other than that, I'm in my element.
Yeah. Well, we've seen about...
I'm adventuring for this kind of country.
Yeah. This is the Mopoke Hut. And it is a campground. There's a couple of campers over there.
Got a big segment of the campground. It's a decent sized campground. Not bad at all.
So this is in the Mopoke Hut, and there's all these little creepy bugs as well, and lots of bees, so you couldn't really use that at all. Lots of bugs.
Hello, welcome to my
Hut?
sunroom. There's a nice double bed here, or a single if you prefer.
Yeah, nah.
All at no charge.
And bugs, and bugs, and bugs.
The bugs are free. They're like, you know.
An added attraction. So we're coming down Mount Crozier track. We've had some interesting sandy tracks on Mopoke, and now we're approaching the Pink Lakes, which is spread out in front of us. This is one of the Pink Lakes, Pioneer Drive. This is where we wanted to be. And pull up over there, love. Straight. Wow. No dipping. because I think it's pretty solid. Here we are approaching the Lake Crosbie Camp Ground at the Pink Lakes. Lake Kenyon and a few different ones. There's probably going to be a lot more people here because it's accessible by all sorts of vehicles, caravans, etc. And there's all these people out there on the lake. That's interesting. They're dry salt lakes. So we will have a look around, find somewhere to set up our little swag, and see how we go. This is Lake Crosbie. So here is our camp for Saturday night. We're going to stay here an extra night as well. We were out on the road today and we got to our first, what we thought was going to be our Saturday night camp around midday, and because it was quite hot today, about 35, sometimes up to 37, we decided to keep driving and stay in the air-conditioned car. So we're all set up. We're going to stay here 2 nights. Mike's just tying down the awning because we had a big gust just then. If I hadn't been standing next to it, it would have flown right up. But I had lightning quick reactions and grabbed them. It's not too bad. It's still very hot. It's not too bad when you're sitting. We've got our ciders, we've got the lake behind us, and there is a nice breeze comes across. So the surface
It's salt.
is salt. Very, very salty. And it feels like it should be damp, but you can see there's a little bit of moisture there. Very little bit of moisture, but when you lick your fingers,
It's salty. Yeah, salt.
very interesting. I think it looks like there's actually mud